First of all, the first thing that we need to understand is that our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, Allah says in the Quran, and indeed you have in the Prophet Muhammad a most excellent pattern of conduct. And there's no question that what our brother has mentioned with regards to the following of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is from the fundamental foundations of this religion. But I want to also mention that we cannot dismiss the way a person dresses. I think it's unfair that we try to separate these two things as if they are mutually exclusive. That if you don't want to concern yourself with dress, because there's no question that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, concerned himself with the way you dress and the way you presented yourself. I'll give you a perfect example. One time a companion of the Prophet was walking down the street, and the companion had his lower garment below his ankle bone. Now we understand from the history that that was a sign of pride, to drag your lower garment below your ankle bone. So when Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, when he saw this, he said to him, Irsa izarak, he said, raise your lower garment. So when the companion heard this, he said, it's an old, cloak garment. I'm not really that concerned about it dragging upon the ground. And then Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, did not stop there. He said, am I not for you a perfect pattern of conduct? And the companion looked at the Prophet and he noticed that his lower garment was to the middle of his shin. So to try to dismiss this idea that's saying that we're not concerned about the way a person dressed, all we're concerned about is their actions, I think we need to be careful. They're not mutually exclusive. You don't have to worry just about your conduct as opposed to your clothes. You concern yourself with all of these matters. There's no question that the taqwa and the piety of an individual is paramount, but that the way a person presents themselves in their dress is connected to that, because it is connected to the following of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So I just wanted to say that because we have to be very careful not to dismiss the teachings of our Prophet Muhammad. And we've been commanded as Muslims to take the whole of the book, not a part of it. You don't take some of it and leave others from amongst it. And I think that's the argument of what our last caller was making, that maybe some people are taking the dress and leaving off some of the actions. But let me just say this with regards to the affair, and I'm going to go back to my statement again, that absence of knowledge does not necessitate knowledge of what is absent. We can bring you tapes going back to the 90s where we have been speaking about character. We've been speaking about conduct. I did a whole series of lectures on the characteristics of the Prophet, the character of the Prophet, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, going back to the 90s, and how the Prophet's character was. As a matter of fact, our Prophet said, I have only been sent to perfect good character. There are narrations where our Prophet talks about, it is upon you to be truthful, for indeed truthfulness leads to piety, and piety leads to paradise. And it is upon you to beware of lying, for indeed lying leads to sin, and sin leads to the hellfire. So there are a number of narrations that we have discussed and we have taught over the years in our lessons, in our masajid, and outside of our masajid, and our mosques, calling people to good character and good conduct and upright living. So I think it's unfair to say that these classes have not been done, and I think the proof of the recordings contradicts what our last caller stated. We want to mention with regards to some of these crimes that have taken place specifically in Philadelphia, and have, as we said, have been attached to the Muslims. What does Islam stand with regards to them? So I'll just mention a few quickly. First of all is murder, and I want to make mention that murder in our religion is the second worst sin after associating partners in worship with the Creator of the heavens and the earth. This act of murder is a crime that is punishable by death. One of the things that we have from the Quran, our holy book, the Quran, Allah says, say, O Muhammad, Allah is now commanding the Prophet to say this, come, I will recite what your Lord has prohibited from you. Join nothing in worship with him. Be good and dutiful to your parents, and do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We provide sustenance for you and for them. Come not near to shameful sins like illegal sexual intercourse, fornication, and adultery, whether committed openly or secretly, and do not take the life of anyone whom Allah has forbidden. This he has commanded you that you may understand. So one of the things that we extract from this particular verse in our holy book, the Quran, is that Allah has forbade from us a number of things, and from them is murder. It is forbidden in the religion of Islam. Another verse says, because of what we ordained for the children of Israel, that if anyone killed a person, not in retaliation for murder or because they were spreading corruption in the earth, it would be as if they killed all of mankind. To kill one person would be as if they had killed all of mankind. And if they saved a life, it would be as if they saved the life of all of mankind. This verse in the Quran clearly demonstrates for us that the preservation of life in Islam is paramount. It is of the uppermost importance of the preservation of life, and the taking of life is impermissible. And as for those who would claim that the Muslims is okay for Muslims to kill non-Muslims and all these kinds of things that we hear about killing of police officers, I want to read a narration from our Prophet Muhammad, an authentic prophetic tradition, where our Prophet said, whoever kills a mu'ahid, and this mu'ahid in Arabic is a non-Muslim, but there's a contract of peace and tranquility between him and the Muslims and the likes of this. The Prophet said, whoever kills this non-Muslim will not smell the fragrance of paradise, and indeed its fragrance can be smelled for a distance of 40 years. So here our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is clarifying beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Muslim who kills the non-Muslim unjustly, that his punishment, his recompense for that crime was that he will not smell the fragrance of paradise. Can anyone after these narrations claim that Islam justifies or condones the likes of these matters? I just want to mention the second one is armed robbery. In Arabic, armed robbery is qatr al-tariq. Qatr al-tariq means to cut off the passageways of the caravans and to take them with illegal weapons and the likes of these matters. And it mentions about this armed robbery in the Quran. Allah says, indeed the recompense of those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger. So those who commit armed robbery, who go about in the earth with their weapons, shaking and quaking the security and safety of society, Allah has described them in the Holy Book as being at war with Allah and His Messenger. Now, how can anyone in any article, any magazine, or any newspaper claim, after hearing the likes of this verse, claim that Islam condones or calls the likes of these behaviors? Rather, those who go about in the earth with their weapons to cause havoc and chaos, Allah has described them as being at war with Allah and His Messenger. And then the verse goes on to say, and spread corruption in the earth, is that they are to be put to death. Now, we could argue about the position of the death penalty and how people feel about the death penalty in another venue. But the point that needs to be understood is that you cannot say that Islam condones or calls to these matters when the very book that we study and teach the people says the total opposite of that, rather describes them as being at war with Allah and His Messenger. And the last point I want to mention is a authentic prophetic tradition of our Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, where some people came to his city, the city of Medina, and they came to accept Islam, and they came to pledge allegiance to the Prophet, that they were going to be his followers and the likes of this. So what happens is, when they came to Medina, because of the climate and some of the food there, they became sick. They had a stomach ailment that was bothering them. So the Prophet suggested to them that they go out into the desert areas and to drink from the milk of the camels, as the milk of the camel is known to have some properties that are very good for these type of stomach ailments. So when these individuals went out into the desert, they drank from the milk of the camel. When they became cured from these stomach ailments, when they became free from these stomach ailments, they took their weapons up and they killed the shepherd. They murdered him, and they stole his flock. Now, what did Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, do? He sent out a search party from amongst the companions to find these criminals, and he brought them back to the city of Medina, and he had them put to death. Now, the point that I'm making in all of this is that how can one claim that Islam condones the likes of this behavior when we have prophetic traditions that show us that our Prophet was from the harshest against those individuals who will go about in society and murder people unjustly and take their wealth unjustly and quake and shake the safety and security of the people.
A couple questions from the listening audience. Tarek's favorite caller, Richard in Winfield. Good morning, sir. You're on WURD.
Peace to you, Billy, and peace to your guests, and peace to everyone that can hear my voice throughout these boundless universes.
And to you, sir.
Thank you. I have 4 quick questions I'd like to ask your guests.
Yeah, if they're 4, Richard, they got to be quick.
Yeah, well, they took up a lot of time.
Yeah, but they're guests. If they're 4, they got to be quick.
Okay,
segment of the show.
They'll be quick. And I'm going to ask these questions not to be disrespectful, but just